Get out my business. Nani? Okay.
So, what's going on in the UK? The UK has been kind of like for the last 3 days in peril because of this woman that you're looking at on the screen. Her name's Sarah. She went missing after leaving a party, and on her way home, she never made it home. An investigation ensued, and then finally they found her. And what ended up happening is she was murdered by a police officer, kidnapped and murdered by a police officer in the UK. Now, this has a lot of ramifications and a lot of nuance, but the one thing I will say about the British Parliament is that they're quick to respond to these type of things with laws and regulations, but history is not a lie, and we know that these rules and regulations often miss the target people they're intended to be enforced upon. What do I mean by this? So the UK is planning to implement a few law changes. Some laws are not some people feel they haven't gone far enough. Some people feel like they're too extreme. An example of one of these laws is putting more surveillance cameras on each corner where there's a heavy population flow, which makes sense. Another one is putting plainclothes officers into parties and walking on the street, which kind of defeats the purpose of having them be officers, because if you have an officer presence, shouldn't crime drop off? Isn't that the logic that they use all the time? But Eric, Eric, I want to ask your thoughts of these two first, and then I'll get to the one you're interested in.
I mean, I don't expect anything from any police officer anywhere. I don't put expectations on them. I don't hate them. I just don't trust them. So I'm really upset that this happened to this young lady. I mean, what I don't really know is the relationship between them. What was it?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he was stalking her, so it wasn't good. Like,
but I'm asking a question because I don't know. I guess not that it really matters here or there, but I'm just trying to figure out if you're like a creeper, you just came out and labeled her a victim and then proceeded to do what you did, or y'all had some kind of relationship on some kind of level.
I mean, I think the narrative for me doesn't matter because the consequences were the same. Like, then the parliament has now asked an issue, because one of the reasons why people are seeing this as an extreme is because, and we'll watch this video real quick to give you guys some more insight, is right around the time the officers found out who murdered her and found her body, they were still actively telling people, police departments were telling women to please stay indoors, please walk in pairs, and also make sure that you watch your surroundings. And a lot of the people are like, why don't you just tell men to stop being rapey and killy and all this other shit? So a permit would come out with basically saying that no man can leave the house after sundown. Now, on its face, it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, crimes doing based on the stats of the UK, their crime is performed significantly, almost exclusively by men, and it takes part at night. So you could by putting this curfew in place, scientifically it would make sense, but what does that say about our society?
It says that men are defective. That's the message is given out. Men are defective. They're inferior women, and they need to be reformed. So let's just lock them up in the house, all of them. Even though one person committed a crime, let's just lock all of them up instead of doing what police officers are supposed to do, is go find the one retard who did the crime. You see, this to me is absolute foolishness. Like, this is just lazy. It's honestly just lazy.
And the reason why it seems so lazy is because you're asking the people who you're supposed to protect to just turn a blind eye to who to protect, because these officers dressed in plain clothes won't be out here looking for rapists. They're going to look for a minority who doesn't fit the description of the area and antagonize them. They're going to find someone who probably had one too many to drink and is on his way home with his friends and say, hey, public intoxication, let's give him a fine. Like, they're going to find the person who has a broken taillight and write them a ticket. Like, these are all things that you should be aware of, but is this what you are been positioned to do? Like, I know the stats in America are crippling, depressing as far as rape kits that expire, which means there are rape kits that officers can test right now, and they refuse to test them because it doesn't garner. It costs $1,200 to test that kit, but it costs you nothing to write a $600 speeding ticket. Like, that's the mentality we have. But let's look into this story a little bit based on what they gave us here in this story. There's something that's kind of eerily wrong with this situation, right? Because the police department that, in a way, who sheltered and harbored this criminal is now going out and telling people they can't protest, they can't mourn this woman's loss. They broke up two nighttime vigils with the excuse that it was a COVID hazard, but it's like, yeah, so this guy killing this woman and us bringing attention to it is a hazard as well. Like, the UK has actively been trying to suppress this story. So that's the perspective on it. But the person trying to enact the law and also breaking the law, they can't be one and the same person. And when they are, we run into situations like this.
Dude, like, the thing I saw here that really kind of, chapped my hide was seeing them the whole, we need to end violence against women. We just need to end violence, period.
Slow it down and we can catch the vibe. But it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime. And I'm sleep deprived, shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night, don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can catch the vibes.